Good evening, everybody. I'm Lifestyles with Eric. Happy Taco Tuesday. Haven't eaten tacos in about 2 weeks, I guess. No, last week. I'm sorry. I had tacos last week. So sometimes I give it a little break, but I love my tacos. You all know that. Happy Tuesday again, everybody. I'm Lifestyles with Eric. Please share the video out. Thumbs up the video. I hope everybody got a notification this evening. And I hope we all can have a good discussion tonight. Supposed to have a couple of guests on tonight, so we'll see if the comedian Miss Stephanie comes on, and also the voice George, the voice of reason. So I'm gonna see if my guests show up here in a minute here, and we'll get going. Do not forget to Miss DeWanda Brown. What's going on? You are the first to show up. All righty. Thank you for coming on tonight. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday. Tell Mr. AJ and the twins I said hello. Hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Taco Tuesday. Please thumbs up that video when you come in, please. Share the video out if at all possible. Miss Cheryl, what is going on? Happy Taco Tuesday, sweetheart. What is up? What is going on? All righty. All right. Waiting on our guests to come in. And I do hope my guests come in tonight. Miss Deborah Bacon, what is going on? We've got happy birthday. All righty. Happy birthday to you, Deborah Bacon. All righty. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Deborah. Happy birthday to you, and many more. All righty. Miss Audrey Gantz in the house tonight. Would everybody say happy birthday to Miss Deborah? Thank you, Reality Chicks. Thank you. All righty. Do not forget that this is a super chat. This is a monetized channel. If you see that dollar bill sign at the bottom, you do know what that means, everybody. It means that you are supposed to donate or put something in the Lifestyles. Let's see. What can I say? Put something in the Lifestyles bin, I guess, or it's just a thanks. It could be anything. It could be $2. It could be $3. I don't care what it is. But we are now monetized. We're not just a regular YouTube show now. So I just want everybody to realize that we're big now. We're big, but not big. Okay. So that's what that means. We do have memberships starting as low as $2.99. So don't forget to shoot me a membership. You know, you can do one membership at a time, once a month, as low as $2.99, people. So do not forget that. I think one of our guests is in, so we'll see if Miss Stephanie, the comedian, is in. All righty, that's Mr. G. Okay. We got Mr. G in. Waiting on Miss Stephanie, the comedian, to come on in here. All righty, what's going on, Mr. G? The voice is in the house.
Nothing. What's going on, Mike? What's going on?
Much, big guy. What's going on?
Whoa!
You all right?
Hold on, drop my phone. Can you hear me? Where'd you go? There you are.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to answer an unexpected phone call in the middle of my live. So sorry about that. What's going on, The Voice? The Voice is in the house waiting on Miss Stephanie to come in. What's going on?
Nothing. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing?
You sound like you out of it. You been working hard, brother?
Nah, man. I just woke up. I was taking a nap. I just got in.
Okay.
Took a nap and was laying on the couch when TV was watching me.
Yeah. We got 12 in today. Where's Miss Stephanie at? Come on, Miss Stephanie. Where you at, love? Where you at? Just waiting on Miss Stephanie to come in. All righty.
Miss Stephanie Mills.
Miss Glenda, what's going on, sweetheart? All right, we got Glenda the hero in the house. All righty, what is going on? All righty, all righty.
What's it trying to do? Rain outside or something?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. So, what's going on in your world, Mr. G?
Nothing, man.
Anything new?
Nah, you know what? A buddy of mine had an idea for a good. We was cracking up about it. A good little, like, kind of like a Family Feud game type of thing. And he said, you can. The object is the challenge to name as many names that a black person wouldn't name their kids that a white person would name their child, or vice versa. How many names, the top names that a white person wouldn't use that black people name their kids?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, you never know. It'll be stereotypical, but you know, that'll be one of them games that you'll just play out. That'll be a taboo game. That could be like one of those taboo games.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Good idea. Because remember, I had that conversation about percentage-wise. I mean, well, like black people naming their kids, you know, we didn't used to name kids that. We used to name kids regular names.
Yeah, like we was thinking, what's a name a black person with a white name that a black person would not name their son.
Although, wait a minute, I just took a twist to it. What? Because it's white girls out there named Keisha, George.
Yeah. I've seen one.
And I think I think that I've heard of one. It's weird. Every now and then you meet you'll see a white girl named Keisha or Tamika. It's odd, but it happens. It happens.
But what you're not gonna see is a black dude named Chad.
My brother's name now, it's rare.
Like Chad, remember Chad Everett, some shit like that.
That is rare. I got my brother's name is Chad, but I know that's not a normal. Normally, that's not, you know.
How many black Chads do you know, or Tag?
Recently, yeah. Or what? Yeah, the old white. Well, see, we're being stereotypical.
But you can flip that around.
Okay,
you can flip it around there.
I don't want to offend anybody.
How many white dudes do you know named Dominique?
But they're Dominiques overseas, though, in France, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Italy, France, they name, right?
Yeah, we talk about American standards.
Okay.
Like Laquan or something like that. You're not gonna see that.
Hey.
Or here's a good one, Chauncey. How many white dudes do when they name Chauncey?
Cut it out. Hold on, man. Let me see what she's at. I might cut out for 1 minute. Hold on. All righty. All right. So hopefully Miss Stephanie will be in here in a minute. You know, ladies, sometimes. Oh, man. All right.
Gotta handle their business.
Yeah, man. You know.
Miss Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Miss Debbie's is Miss Debbie in the house. Hey, Miss Debbie, what's going on, sweetheart? What is going on? Miss Debbie's in the house. All right. Okay, reality checks. My fault. My fault. She said, "Now hold on." My fault. I know that ain't you. Absolutely not. Absolutely. All righty. My fault. It's so much thing. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Before we get to the main topic, it's what's going on? Everybody's talking about Coach Prime. And I don't know. Well, I do know why. You know, it's obvious because he's African American and he's been a winner his whole life. You know, if he was a white coach, nobody would be saying anything about it. They would just say he's been a winner. He's winning, and that's it. You know, he can't be cool. He can't wear sunglasses. You know, he's changing the standards. Hey, Sherry, what's going on, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Did you see him on 60 Minutes the other night?
No, I'm gonna watch it. I understand where he's coming from with all that crap because you taking some of the coaches that's been in college football for God knows how long, and they used to getting their way, right? And they stacking the deck with all these players, and all of a sudden Deion comes along, and he showed he could win down there at Jackson State. Then he gets a coaching job at one of the big universities down there in Colorado, and you know they wasn't expecting him to win. You should have heard all the commentators talking about, oh, he's not going to win against this team. And they were laughing and joking about it. But then all of a sudden they came along, they won the first 3 games. Now they at first week 1, they was kind of getting upset too. Because they was like, well, he's going into their transfer portal or he's recruiting team players that we would normally get. So they get upset. You know, it's one of those things where you sit up here and you've been winning and you used to getting things done a certain way. But he's not even taking the best players. He's taking good players that teams like your big colleges, I ain't going to name one because I don't want no big university getting upset. But some of the big universities, they would take those players and they would give them, you know, they bring them in and they would sit them down for maybe like the first 2 or 3 years, then come around the next year after the other players done left and went off to the NFL or graduated, then they still got a steady flow of top quality players coming right behind the next one. So then Deion comes in there and he's like, well, I'll take the guys who's not playing and bring them along to Colorado. And, you know, they want to come play for me and give them opportunity to play.
Right.
So now that you know, some of the big schools and the big coaches, they getting upset because he's just using another way with you guys and breaking the norm and saying, okay, well, we're not going to do that no more. Well,
I think he's changing.
He's
changing the perception of college football a little bit, kind of making it cool, I guess, quote unquote, a little bit.
Not so much cool, but he's making the players feel like I don't have to necessarily go to a big name university. You know, some people they have a lot of big schools out there.
Looks like we got Miss Stephanie here, so let's go ahead and get Miss Stephanie in here.
Okay.
All right. What's going on? We got comedian Miss Stephanie in the house tonight. What's going on?
Hello.
We've been waiting on this special guest here. What's going on?
I'm sorry. I was taking care of a comedy business.
Okay. All right. Did I introduce you correctly, Miss Stephanie?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay, this is a special guest. We got a special co-host tonight, everybody. This is Miss Stephanie. You can give them a little input on you and you know what it is you do.
My name is Stephanie Jackson. I'm on stage. My name is Little Stephanie. I'm sorry about my Afro puff, but I just washed my hair real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been doing comedy for about almost 2.5 years. I do Christian comedy, I do clean comedy, and I do blue comedy, which is the anything goes comedy. So Currently I'm on tour with the Devil Show is Busy comedy show. And yeah, that'll be next. I'm doing a TV special next Friday, and then next Saturday I'll be in Springfield, Ohio, doing a show.
Let everybody know where the show is, what time it starts, and if they can get tickets, because I don't know, you might have some people interested in that. So,
well, so far, look, I can't give you all the information because they haven't given it to me.
Okay.
It's gonna be a free show though.
Oh, great. Okay.
It's gonna be a free show. It'll be here in Indianapolis. It's gonna be a TV special. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay.
All right. Sweet.
Congratulations.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, I'm excited for you. I won't ignore Reality Check's question. She was saying something about she was shocked to hear that the mayor was getting a divorce. I mean, divorce happens, but this is awful. This is an awful weird time because it's an election time.
It's bad timing.
It's bad timing.
Bad time, and it don't look good on his behalf.
No, it doesn't, unfortunately. I know the show must go on, but unfortunately, people look at you and they judge you. And when you're in politics, they look at your marital status and all of those things, and that in your character, all that stuff kind of goes into one. And of course, we don't know why Mrs. Hogsett filed for divorce, but
and her name just so happened to be Stephanie.
Stephanie Hogsett. Wow. Wow. George, where'd you go?
I'm still here. I'm getting up, moving around for a second. Okay, right. I can hear you. I'm still here. I'm just taking care of something real quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting when I saw that on the news. But I mean, I know things happen, like I said, but just not right now. I think that could have been.
I think she was being selfish, and this is my opinion. But I think she was being selfish because this is election time, and Shreve is really pushing, the situation. The Hogsett this and Hogsett that. And in the midst of him slinging mud at you, you decide to bail out. Mm-hmm. You should have either did that before the election time came or after the election was over. But be respectful for a man who took care of you. She got her own money too, but understand, membership got its privileges.
That's true.
So you got a lot of perks about with the last name Hogsett whenever you through with it.
Power. Yeah.
So, if that's how you feel, and y'all been together for a long time,
right,
come clean, Miss Lady. Don't be like that.
Right, I agree.
Don't be like that.
I agree. Yeah, it's a little selfish, but everybody can play that selfish role sometimes, and it's nobody.
And you allowed to leave when you're ready to go.
Yeah. She may have already been ready to go, and.
It might have been extreme circumstances. It might have been something that happened that was so bad, that she didn't blast him for it. Nonetheless, she got to go.
Right. So, life goes on, right? We'll see who wins that mayoral race. We'll see. So I don't know if anybody's heard about the. So there was a daycare owner in New York by the name of Gree Mendez, 36 years old, out of the Bronx, New York. Well, she's the owner of a home apartment daycare, and her and her cousin were running a drug apartment and a daycare at the same time. And unfortunately, in result of that, a 1-year-old little boy by the name of Nicholas Dominici overdosed on fentanyl poisoning. They found over a kilogram of fentanyl in a closet in an apartment daycare, and we all know how lethal fentanyl can be. And 3 other children were became dangerously ill at the same time. So they have this daycare owner and her cousin, whose name is Carlisto Arvado are now charged with murder. This was this little boy's second week of daycare. His father is distraught. Okay. I know we've all possibly been touched by fentanyl poisoning in some sort of way. Last year, I did a YouTube because my cousin and her husband, I don't know exactly what happened, but they end up passing away from fentanyl. So it's everywhere. It affects a lot of it affects everybody. It goes over race, gender, sexuality. It doesn't matter. It's just the same as crack did, but I know people don't look at crack the same as they look at this because it's affecting maybe a lot of white people now. But it's affecting everybody. This is the new everything. What do you all think about Stephanie, George? What do you think, about the just about this case in particular? And what are we gonna do about this? I mean, are our kids safe anywhere? I mean, are our kids safe, grandkids safe? Taking them to daycare and dropping them off. Second week of daycare. Are they safe? What do we do? How do we protect the kids? How if we got to get up and go to work, if our kids have to get up and go to work and drop their children off at a daycare, how do we trust people with our children? Is there any trust anymore? What do we do? What can we do? That's my question.
I spoke last. I'll let him speak first.
Okay. One story would be from daycare all the way up to high school, and especially in high school. I felt like they should put cameras with microphones in the classrooms, so that the parents won't have any excuse on the high school level now to say that I don't have time to deal with these problem children in these high school classes, fighting the teachers and everything. So you can log in. The parent has their own portal to log into each one of those classes and see where their students are and what they're doing. They can do the same thing in daycare. Now the problem is they would have a lab, a drug lab, pretty much what it seems like in their daycare. And from a criminal perspective, it makes sense. It's sad. I ain't trying to be funny, but from a criminal perspective, what law enforcement officer would really be looking for a drug lab in a daycare? It's there gonna near the perfect cover until something tragic like that happens. I think it's hard to say how do we get more in depth about who's running the daycares, because you could be a person out here selling drugs for years and never got caught criminal on any kind of cases, and you just go under the radar. Then when something tragic like this happens, it's like, man, I didn't know. I feel empathy for the parents with those kids, and it's just a hard thing to do, to try to monitor every aspect of the life. Because you think about it now, when you go to work, you work a normal 40-hour job, and you think in certain cities, daycare alone now is what, $200, $300 a week per child. So you're entrusting people that you have to go off and spend, let's say, maybe 25% of your income goes, a paycheck goes towards daycare, and you're trusting them to take care of your child. So where do we go from here? How do you regulate the daycare system and ensure nothing like that happens? It's tough, man. Maybe we should have more parents working inside the daycare on a voluntary basis, maybe once a week or once a month. And if you got time, you come in here and help out, and then maybe you can get a little bit of detail about what's really going. Like a community comes together and say, hey, this is Mrs. Jones. She's 65 years old. She comes down to the daycare. Maybe she volunteers, or mom and dad spend maybe a day or two, in the daycare volunteering, and maybe you'll get more in touch about what's going on and who's operating the daycare. But it's going to be a hard one. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. but we know how American history is. We'll hear about it again.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, don't judge me, pray for me, but I watch a lot of TV at night, and I watch Power, and they had on the show a daycare, and they was running drugs through the daycare
Yeah.
on Power show.
Yeah.
Same shit, different day. It just happened in real life. That's the only difference. Is that plot that we were so enthralled and couldn't stop watching. What if it happened in real life? Well, guess what? It just did. That's what happens when we go too far. You know, we sometimes you can plant the seed and folk think, well, I can get away with it. All I gotta do is do it a little, tweak it a little bit, and I'm gonna get away with it. So it get by 2-3 times, might get through 200-300, but all it take is that one time. And look what happened. Somebody child lost their life for nothing. And as far as trying to remedy the problem, it gonna have to come from a lot of different ways. I do agree with the camera system because you can check in, but as far as that go, you might can check in on like the teachers fighting on the kids or the kids bullying other kids or whatever. But the babies, we supposed to protect them babies. They can't protect themselves. So that's our job. Problem going on is to all the young people, don't judge me again. Don't judge me. It's my opinion, but they need to stop letting the young folk have these daycares.
Yeah.
Because they ain't even raising their own kids right at home.
And they're only
they go
doing it
and
for the
open
money.
a business, and a dope boyfriend come through. He need a stash spot. They ain't gonna never figure it's at the school, not at the daycare. Yes, at the daycare too. But they got the. We didn't have dope houses in our daycares.
No.
Grandma didn't have a dope house at her day. It wasn't going on at grandma's house. It wasn't going on at the preschools back in the day. But now they got the young girls who are not even qualified at their own home to be respectable parents. Oftentimes they chasing somebody's son around, but that's another Jerry Springer story. You know, mothers not knowing how to be mothers, whether they mama didn't teach them or they didn't take time to learn. They was too hard-headed and didn't want to hear. Nonetheless, until we educate and make stiffer laws, like they need to really just bang the bejesus out that man.
Yeah.
Let them know this ain't that.
They should never get out of prison
ever again. And I don't care whose son it is, cousin, mother. Right. I don't care. A life for a life.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to them babies. It's a life for a life for me.
That's the innocence. They're innocent. They have no fight. So
I'm very passionate about that. I lost a family member to fentanyl. So it goes beyond the schools. It's everywhere. I used to think it was a white thing. You know what I mean? No. My brothers and my sisters is fallen soldiers to it too. My nephew was 36, 37. You know what I mean? He was doing wrong at the time, understand? He was doing wrong, but he didn't deserve to die because he was doing wrong. But they cut it with fentanyl. And his grandma had to walk into his dead body on that floor.
Now, you know what's crazy? When you open the segment up about it's a the social construct between white folks and black folks, and then when all of a sudden when white folks get involved, it's a mental illness.
We just talked about that today. I just talked about that today.
Now,
when it was us in the crack was in powder was killing our neighborhoods. Just ravaging them. You know, tearing their families and everything. They was locking them up instead of helping them mothers and helping them boys. They was not giving them jobs. You left them in situations where that was their fast money. Some of them, that was their only money.
Now that I think about it, that was such a, remember what I was saying about projects? That was such a project. Now that I really think about it, and I was in the streets and I sold drugs, statute of limitations is up on that. So, you know, I was in the streets and I did those things. Now that I really think about it, if you really think hard about it, think about all the older people that died and their kids had those homes and they got on crack. And guess what happened? They got gentrified because what? They lost the homes. So if they put a whole lot of cocaine and guns in the neighborhood,
in the inner city,
like a bomb go off, people are going to grab it, do it, use it, sell it, get locked up, get addicted to it, kill each other. We're going to have your properties. Now look what's happening. My neighborhood that I grew up in was crack infested, gun killings. Now it's going to be gentrified at some point. So see how the project works. See how where your area is, where you live at, is getting it. The houses are expensive now up on 40th in the Butler Tarkington area, and see how things that's
40th Street used to be the rawest neighborhood for a long time. 40th Street name rang out, just Doughboy City, but they also dropped bodies over there. They was dropping bodies, wrapping them up in carpet, and they lost their mind over there, and they gave them just enough rope to hang themselves. Like you said, they start losing the houses, people getting locked up, they dying, and all these empty houses. All of a sudden, these same houses that was $20,000
now they
is now $200,000 house.
Or more. Let's say $500,000.
Oh, they got halves over there. The big boys on 42nd, the big boys on the Butler side, they a quarter and up.
Yeah. Hey, Tierra. Yeah.
Debbie made a comment on there. She said some people who is doing drugs, no matter what the business, but people do not want to be a snitch.
Well, they're afraid of the repercussions. They're afraid of people finding out that you're the one that did it. And I understand that they have no protection. And, you know, these people want to say something, but they got to live in these neighborhoods. So it's, you know, even if they call these drug lines some sort of way, it seems like they always have to, you know, I don't know. They're just afraid that somebody's going to find out that they've said something. Do you really blame them? You know, because people are really hurting people now. And if they threaten you, that you got to really be conscious of that nowadays.
Remember, I was on one show. I don't want to, you know, mention their name on a different show.
Where'd you go, Stephanie?
Remember what I was talking about? I said the old school gangsters and stuff. There was a order of doing things. Okay, there she goes. Yeah, back in the old days, from the let's just say we go back to the 1920s up to the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even part through the 80s, there was a certain order of way crime was dealt with.
Right.
You had bosses, you had guys in the street that we knew that was the pimps and the drug dealers, and the young kids looked up to them, but they had a way of, even though they did what they did, they had a way of still being leaders in the community, and the community was protected. That you knew back then, if you went down to Mrs. Jones's house and you stole something from Mrs. Jones, and the guys that was in control of the neighborhood, the old school, the OGs, the real OGs, they told you better take Mrs. Jones's stuff back. Boy, you don't do that stuff around here. They were kind of the protectors of the neighborhood, even though they still did stuff, but it wasn't out there in the public like it is now. It wasn't just random, you know, we see somebody, you say something to me I don't like, I'm gonna start shooting.
The bottom line is that it was ran like a professional business. As I did that's the reason why I say and I'm not glorifying street life or street activity, but when I was in the streets, I ran it like a business. I was up at a certain time in the morning. I did what I had to do by a certain time of the day. I was done for the rest of the day. I didn't do it all night. I didn't stand on street corners. I didn't disrespect my neighbors. You know, I didn't run in out of the place I lived. I was gone for the whole day like a job. I just did everything orderly. It was in an orderly fashion, and nothing's done that way nowadays. That's the reason why the whole drug thing is just completely played out. People need to get off drugs, stop selling drugs, and go to work and get their lives together. Period. That time is over. And it, at some time, at some point when I was immature and young, it was fun, but it's not no fun anymore. And it's not fun when you grow up and you mature and you see people are dying and overdosing and families are being crushed because of what you're selling. So, or what people are selling. So it's not cute. It's nothing cute about this stuff. And it's so unfortunate that this 1-year-old little boy died. I send my condolences out to his family, and no remorse for the young lady and her cousin that had fentanyl in their closet. No remorse to these people. I just hope at some point we can get a lock on this. We never got a lock on crack. We just lock people up and let them die. And so I hope that we can get a lock on this fentanyl stuff. I hope that at least the drug dealers stop cutting things with fentanyl. When I was a younger person and I did what I did, like I said, people, if I don't recall, people cut drugs with mannitol and isotal, baby laxatives. Okay, that did not make people overdose and die. It wasn't. You could touch it; it didn't kill you. Fentanyl will literally kill you if you touch a pinch of it. It could kill you. So I don't understand why they're using fentanyl for the cutting of the drugs, but I know it's highly addictive. I get that, but they just shouldn't do it. Period. It shouldn't be done. I'm gonna read some of the comments and then we're gonna get out of here in a minute. Cheryl says snitching is just not the thing to do. Even in my days, people knew not to open their mouth if they didn't want to come up missing. I mean,
but I want to speak on that for just a second. I don't mean to cut you out. No. I think my people need to recognize what the heck is a snitch. Because they think anybody that go talk to the police is a snitch. Devil is a lie. That's not true.
If you're a civilian and you're not involved in the crime, you're not a snitch. Again, if you're a civilian, you're a regular person walking down the street and you see some old lady getting knocked upside the head, you have the right to call the police because guess what? You're not a part of the crime. You're not with the guy that
you're not benefiting.
You snitch on anybody. You're a regular person that sees a crime, and that's what we pay the police to do. So, I can separate that now because I'm not in the streets. I am a civilian. But if something happens to me, I'll say this, if something happens to me streetwise, I'll probably handle it street. Okay. I won't snitch. But if I see an old lady get hit upside the head, I'm a civilian now. I'm not involved in the crime. If I'm not afraid of who it is I tell on, guess what? I'm saying something. I don't care what they say. I'm not a snitch, but that's just my opinion. I know some people have different definitions. I have a really good friend that thinks if anybody talks to the police about anything, you're a snitch. He doesn't care if you are a regular person, a snitch or whatever. He just says if you talk to the police, you're a snitch. Now, then that means then what do we pay them for? What do we pay our taxes for? What do they get paid to do?
What about those who can't protect themselves? See, people like you said, I'm gonna go handle it hood. It came hood, I'm gonna deliver it hood.
Right.
But what about the single mothers out here or the older women or children that have been victimized by somebody?
Right.
nobody's supposed to protect them.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you go tell on them, and you need to take care of. We forgot about taking care of and protecting the ones God supposed to take care of: old folk, crazy folks, and babies. And we have a role in all three of them areas.
You're right. Black Panthers, for an example, used to take care of their neighborhoods.
Yes, sir.
They used to protect their neighborhoods. Gangs didn't used to be the gangs of today. Gangs would actually take care of their neighborhoods.
With a vice lord
in Chicago in the 70s, those gangs weren't violent. They were taking care of their neighborhoods. The neighborhoods that they grew up in, they gave them food. They made sure kids had food after lunch, all different kinds of programs. But they made it as if these guys were bad, but they were really leaders. They didn't know that they were leaders at that particular time, but they were leaders, and they were helping their community and not doing.
Yeah, that's what I was hitting on when you had the OGs that was out there,
right?
Like the vice lords in Chicago. They started out in a similar fashion, but then it becomes territorial. You know, you come into my neighborhood, so we miss really. Sometimes we need those old school ideas from the old heads, but the OGs that knew how to really be organized about stuff, they're dead, locked up in prison, but they had a certain image that was like, how you doing, Mrs. Jones? You know, Mrs. Jones might have looked at us and said, well, I know what he does, but he's a respectable man. He doesn't go out here. He's not cussing out Mrs. Jones. If Mrs. Jones needs a ride to the store, he might have gave her a ride to the store.
Now, George, you know, me and you both know, we both grew up with somebody that we're not naming the name, that we both know from the time we were little bitty kids.
Yeah. Everybody knew what he did, but he was the most respected person in the neighborhood.
He did his thing. He took care of the street that he lived on.
Yep.
He made sure everybody was okay. He didn't disrespect his street nor his neighborhood, but he did his thing.
And if you needed a job, he gave you a job.
He would give you a job, not doing anything illegal.
He gave you a legitimate job
in his legitimate business. He would give you a job. Yeah. So the criminals of yesteryear are different from the criminals today. Is the bottom line, and that we need to try to get people off this drug. We need to try to help as many people as we can. It's killing people. You know, that's pretty much all I can say.
But I'm gonna make one more comment real quick about that New York situation, the fentanyl situation. The investigation is just now starting. Okay, you'll probably be surprised at who all knew about it and that was involved with it. Because to me, it seems like you have people who come around and inspect the daycares for the city. You have law enforcement officers that are supposed to be protecting. New York City is real corrupt, man. And it's probably going to be eye-opening when you find out if some people in the city was involved with that, with the moving and the protection of what was going on. And it may not just be that one daycare. It may be more than one daycare.
But you know, New York City is going through a flood of immigrants at this time.
Yeah.
They going through the school systems. They talking about they had like over 12,000 new students that started. You know, New York City got the biggest school system in the country.
Yeah.
But they are even overwhelmed. The mayor talking about they busting out the seams because they bringing all these people who done, you know, migrated to the United States, and they flooding it. So they overwhelmed. That's what they're going to say. We are overwhelmed, and rightfully so.
You're right. So, yeah. So anyway, all we can do is, you're right, George. I agree with you on that. The investigation continues. We'll keep an eye on what goes on with this New York case. In the meanwhile, Stephanie, I appreciate you coming on tonight. It was awesome. It was a great conversation. I'm sure George appreciates it. We had a lady in the house today. It's normally just me and George, and we got another opinion, which is cool. We'd love to have you on again. And
just let me know.
I got one question for Stephanie.
Yeah.
If somebody was to be a young and aspiring comedian, what would be the process from your experience to get started? And what avenues or what lessons have you learned about what to do and what not to do?
If you are, I started 2 years ago, and I ain't quite young no more. So don't let age be a barrier, or there's no such thing as being too old or too young when it comes to comedy.
Okay.
Chris Rock started it, but then you had Mom Mabley that was old as dirt, that was doing comedy. So it's not, you had the Red Foxes, the Dick Gregory's, you had a lot of older comedians. It's an individual sport. When you do comedy, understand that there are going to be a lot of people trying to tell you how to do your comedy. You find your lane, and you get in your lane, and you focus on you. I did open mic. The first thing to do, if you want to start out doing comedy, though, is go to open mics. They have several open mics out here. If you want to do clean comedy, they have open mics. If you want to do Christian comedy, they have open mics. If you want the blue comedy, they have open mics. And sometimes from there, people get to recognize you and to start asking you, would you like to be on this show, that show, this show? Me, I did open mic for like a month or two. But the next month, I started in May and June, I had my first paid show. So, and I haven't looked back. I don't really do free shows like that. Unless I'm doing like cancer. We do one for Moselle Sanders Foundation and different things like that. So, but no, don't let nobody tell you when you supposed to get paid. Don't let nobody tell you how you do your jokes. But when you do your jokes, make sure that they not clapping for you or saying, that's right, that's not comedy. If they laughing, that's comedy. A lot of people get up there and just talk. That's not comedy. They ain't want to hear no motivational speech. They want to hear some jokes.
Okay.
So give them what they came for.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Stephanie. Again, I appreciate you coming in. All right, George, zip it. I'm just playing with you. That's my buddy. All right, everybody. I appreciate you coming in. Steph, I'm just hungry. That's all. I haven't eaten dinner. I'm sorry. I'm just rushing out of here. So anyway, I'm going to eat my little quesadillas. I appreciate everybody coming in. It's Taco Tuesday, everybody. Thanks. Hey, Terry. Good evening. Stephanie, we'll have you back real soon. Thank you for coming in. All righty. George, thanks for coming in tonight, my friend.
Okay. Nice meeting you, Stephanie. Okay.
Nice meeting you, George.
Okay. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night-night.